Hey everyone, welcome. We'll be getting started shortly. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves. It's a small group among friends. Yeah, we'll get started shortly. Hey everyone, sorry I can't hear you, but we're just moving people over to this side of the restaurant where we're having the AGM. So it's just members only on this side, and we'll be live soon. Thanks for your patience.
Hi, Lynn. How's your supper? There's a way to turn off your video if you want. I can't hear you, Lynn, but
For the formal portion of the AGM, we're just wanting to know who's all a member, so we know if we have quorum. Could you just type yes in the chat if you're a member? Thank you.
still can't hear you, Lynn. Most of your things are in the top left on an iPad.
Just to touch the screen to activate it.
Touch the screen to activate it. And if you want to speak to me, you'll have to unmute.
There we go. I'm unmuted. Okay. Yes, Dan and I are both members.
Good. Do you have a chat that you can pull up?
If I can find it. Yes, I'm not. Where would I find chat?
Upper left again, or we're on an iPad?
On
Yeah,
iPad.
it should be there.
Do I go in gallery view yet, or no? Switch camera, live, mute, share content, participants. No. Stop video, mute. That's what I'm seeing here. Where would I find chat?
I'm not on an iPad. I'm trying to remember.
No.
It should be around there. Look around the edge somewhere. You'll see the word chat.
Okay, I'm trying to see.
On the upper row?
No. Oh, wait a minute. There's more. Just a minute.
Good.
More. I found it. Chat.
Good for you.
Hey! Okay.
And then once they start, we'll both have to mute, and you may want to turn off your video.
Okay.
Okay.
And in the chat, put that there's two of you, okay?
Right.
All right.
So do I just close this now?
In the chat, there should be an area where you can type.
Hey everyone, I think we're just about at quorum, so we'll be able to get started shortly. We have
yes.
We have I think 14 people here in the room, and it looks like 5 people in the live stream that are members.
Okay.
Teresa, do you know what we need for quorum? 20? We have more than 200 members?
I hit the thing.
It'll be 10%. Okay. We'll just need
and
one
then
more,
mute when you're done there, Lynn, so that we can hear
okay.
them.
Okay, do I close this now? Okay.
Where
do I
All right, great. So we have 15 people here in person, 15 members, and we have 5 people on the live stream. So we got 20, so we got 4.
Mats, can you hear me?
All right, welcome everyone. Thanks. Okay, yeah. So thanks everyone for joining us for the AGM tonight. To begin, I just want to call the meeting to order, and maybe I'll go to the agenda first. This will be the agenda for the evening. We have myself as the chair. Teresa will be the returning officer for the nomination contest. We have Roz. Roz is somewhere. She'll be the returning officer for the EDA election. And then, we need to put forward a motion that we agree with the agenda and us running the meeting. So I'd like to move that this group will run the meeting. Could I get a seconder, please? Simon? And all in favor to approve the agenda as presented? Thanks. So to begin, we just want to acknowledge the territory that we're on. This is the traditional land of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Neutral people. And the map here that we have on the screen is 10 kilometers on either side of the Grand. And this was land that was originally promised to Indigenous people for their participation in the American Revolution. And this promise wasn't kept. Only the small portion, 5%, remains. And this is something that we need to acknowledge as the work that we need to do for truth and reconciliation. And one of the things that I find encouraging, Mike's been out connecting with the Indigenous community. This summer, he joined the 2-row on the Grand, where paddlers from both Indigenous people and settler people paddle side by side. We also had friendship walks around the day of National Truth and Reconciliation. And these are activities where settlers and Indigenous people engage in an activity together. And when they do that, it's much easier to have conversations flow. So I encourage each of you to also join these types of events and learn more about the Indigenous people in our community. So for the agenda, we had the call to order. I'll present kind of a quick recap of what this past year was about. Of course, the real excitement tonight is having our guest speakers speak. So we'll try to get through the formal business quickly, but it's important that as members, you guys are engaged in this democratic process. And so I really appreciate that you guys are here to be members, to meet quorum, and also that you took the extra step. We don't actively promote that people sign up to be members, but because you guys consciously signed up, you can be part of this process. Teresa is going to present the finances for the past year, and then we'll have an election on the new slate of executives. We have a few constitution changes, and this is the first time in a while that we're doing this to get it up to date. So I appreciate your participation in that. We'll have a quick look at the year ahead and our official nomination contest. And then we'll migrate over to the other room where we'll have some guest speakers. And we're finishing off, like most of our events, with a Dutch auction to get people to contribute to the wonderful campaigns of Aislinn and our federal work. So we went through this. I'll be the chair. Rosalind is the RO for the executive election, and Teresa will be the RO for the nomination contest. And I'm just going to pause it there and give a quick recap on the activities that we had this past year. Really appreciate everyone's involvement throughout the campaign. We had many volunteers making phone calls, and really noticeably, Mike Strathy made an amazing amount of calls. I'm not sure if he's migrated to the other room. Thanks. Alongside Mike, we reached a lot of past donors to make sure that we have the funds we need to support Mike with his MP work. We also had the leadership election federally. And so Elizabeth and JP are with us tonight. You'll hear from them later in the evening as the new leaders of the Green Party of Canada. And it was great to have people engaged from our local riding in the work that was needed there. We had Maria, who is an outgoing executive, leading getting volunteers engaged in volunteering with community events. And this was one of the kind of notable things that Mike Morrice was doing before he was elected. He was out in the community doing the work of an MP long before he was elected. And I think a great thing that we can contribute as a riding, as an EDA, as volunteers, is to contribute to the actual work on the ground with organizations like Sanguine, House of Friendship, and others. And we want to encourage that throughout the upcoming year as well. And even though Maria is stepping down on the exec, she is continuing that work and being fully focused on that kind of community volunteerism. So I think that's great. Any other highlights you can think of, Teresa? Sorry to put you on the spot. So especially with so many elections, we really want the EDA and other volunteers to be involved where it's most effective. And so these past few months have been a bit quieter from a federal perspective because a lot of EDA members are actively helping out with the provincial campaign. And as you'll hear from the speeches, electing Aislinn provincially is one of the best things that we can do right now to make sure that Mike can also get reelected in the next federal election. Great. So, right, yeah. So I'll hand it over to Teresa to give a financial report.
Give me a moment here.
Yeah, the voice protection not enough, or should I try a bit higher?
We'll see how I do. How's it doing? Good so far. Okay, thanks. Okay. Yeah, I've been the financial agent. I was trying to think of the federal term. It's different than provincial for the past several years. And so this is going to be the financial report. So there's statement of revenue and expenses. As you can see, 2021 was an election year. And so our contributions and our expenses will reflect that. The transfers come in from the GPC and in that way, and then the contributions are directly through checks, PayPal, e-transfer, those donations through our account. Whoa, I got an extra, yeah. That transfer number is about $600,000 too high for 2022. Sorry. Yeah. The 99,000 is correct. And so the transfer is like, yeah, when you go to greenparty.ca and make a donation, that's where that money comes from. We'll just there we go. Yeah. And these numbers have been audited and can be found on the Elections Canada website. The audited numbers are, yeah. Oh, gee. Yeah. I need to get rid of that pop-up. So, yeah. So the bank charges, yeah, that's dropped, and that's the PayPal and credit card fees and all of that. The credit union itself, very minor fees. The storage locker is something that we pay for all of the signs and furniture from the offices and stuff like that. That's some of the more expensive stuff. The election expenses, you can see, didn't exist. And staffing, we do pay, we help cover, pay some people to help Mike at partisan events and different things like that. So the parliamentary budget is very strict, what can be charged. And then when he is doing stuff for the Green Party, or Roz, the communications person, is writing emails on behalf of the Green Party, we do pay her to allow that her that partisan work as she draws Government of Canada salary. Our auditor is Nara McAnam. We switched to him 2 years ago and are keeping with him. And our current assets are about $67,000. That was taken this afternoon. So that's where we are. So it is a healthy balance, but it's a far cry from what we need for 2025 election and items. Oh, I needed to delete that one. And donations, because we'll be getting to that. So because politicians write the tax code, and that they do give really healthy donations. So, you know, a $400 donation really ends up costing you $100 because you get 300 of that back on your taxes. And we can do fun things like this and then also contribute to Mike's re-election campaign. Does anyone have any questions? Like, how much do you need to run an election? Yeah. Okay, the question was, how much money do you need to win an election? That's what was spent in 2021 between the campaign and the EDA expenses. There is a spending limit, and but there's other expenses outside of that. The spending limit is about $130,000. And then there are some random other expenses to do. So you do need that amount of money. Yep.
And maybe Teresa already covered this. Sorry if she did when I stepped away. There's definitely the part where we want to run a healthy election campaign, but also the more money that we raise between elections, that can directly go to Mike and his team so that they can have a bigger impact, hiring additional staff, and so they have the resources. A lot of the bigger parties get a really large budget for the work that they do, but because we have a caucus of 2, we don't get the same support from the government that the other parties do. And any support. Thank you, Elizabeth. No, thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, so Elizabeth just chimed in. She's in the room here. She was saying the Green Caucus does not get any government support, and until we get to 12 MPs, hopefully soon. And in the meantime, it is our local grassroots organizing that is raising money to be able to amplify the work that Mike and his team are doing.
Any other financial questions? Or is there any? Okay. I don't know. In the Zoom, we wouldn't be able to hear you, but if there's any questions, if you wanted to throw them in the chat, we could read them out.
I'm going to check the YouTube live stream real quick, see if we have any questions. It doesn't seem like it. Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next section, if we can get back to the slideshow. For the next part. All right, thank you.
Oh, the mic's only for
So for the next part, we have the election of our EDA executive. Sorry, I'm just going to clip this. So for the formal business of the AGM, we elect our executive here, and we want to recognize the work that our outgoing executives have done over the past year. Alicia Ma has moved out of the riding, and so she is stepping down to focus on family and the location where she's setting up now. Jason Hammond has been a long-time executive on the EDA as well. He's focusing on Waterloo Region Greens and the organizing at a regional level. So he's still very much involved, just not taking the formal seat on the EDA. And I mentioned Maria Legault. She joined last year and has been really helpful in getting volunteer community organizing. And she'll continue that, just not in a formal role as an EDA exec. And so we have a vote ahead. We want to reapprove the returning executives, which are myself as CEO. We have Scott Albrecht, who was the official agent of Mike Morrice's campaign, and has sat on the EDA this past year. We have Stacey Dankert, who was CEO for many years and continues to provide a lot of the history in our riding. Teresa Cornwell, our FA. Tyrone Russell, who did a lot of the organizing for this event tonight. He's continuing to sit on the EDA. And Wayne Mack was the provincial candidate in the last year and a longtime volunteer. He will also continue to sit. We have 3 new EDA members that are standing for election. We have Jeff. Where do we have? Jeff is in the back here. Jeff has been really involved on the campaigns from a tech role and helping behind the scenes with social media and the websites. So it's great to have his expertise on the EDA. We have Simon Guthrie, candidate in the municipal election, provincial election, and appreciate all his volunteer work for all the campaigns that we've had. And Spencer Maroney is joining as a young Green, and she's excited to connect with the universities and the college to get more youth engagement. And so this will be our first time having a youth chair, and we're really excited about that. So you each got a ballot when you came in. And for the live stream, I'm going to start a poll. And before I do that, I just want to introduce Roz. Roz will be our returning officer for the EDA executive election. Many of you will know Roz as the communications lead on both of Mike's campaigns, and she continues to work as the senior communications director on the MP team and as interim director of staff since Asha has stepped down. So we really appreciate everything that Roz does for the riding, and she's serving as the RO here so that we can make sure that this is a fair and democratic process. So please give a round of applause to Roz. In the chat, I have Jeff's a question. What's Jeff's last name? It's Junup. It's up on the screen here for people in the audience, but I think it's tough to see for the stream. So we have Jeff Junup, Simon Guthrie, and Spencer Maroney. Thanks for the question. All right, so you each have your ballots. Oh, you didn't receive one. Okay. Yes, question.
Just verifying. So having not done this before, everybody that's on the ballot could potentially be on the
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So for you guys, maybe I'll just have you can let us know how you vote. So the question in the room was how many people can we vote for? And there's actually 11 positions on the EDA. We have 9 candidates. So every person running can be voted for. So we have an easy all of the above option if you're agreeing with everybody. Many hands make light work, but you can also check off people individually if you prefer. So for people in the room, please fill in your ballots. We have a ballot box here. If you could collect the ballots. And people in the live stream will launch the poll. There we go. So in the live stream, if you scroll down, you have the option for all of the above and none of the above. Just let Roz know what your vote is, and then she'll add it to the count.
Oh,
they didn't get a ballot. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. So just bear with us in the live stream as we go around and collect all the ballots.
Matt.
No, audio.
Hi, Matt.
Right in the middle of the meeting.
In the live stream, I think we had 5 people signed up as members, and so far we have 4 votes. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please enter your vote in the poll. And if you have a question, please enter it in the chat.
Okay, that's what I wanted in the first place. Chat. And where do I?
And I see some people off mute. Unfortunately, I can't hear you. So if you could type your questions in the chat, or if someone else in Zoom could help people with questions, that'd be appreciated. Yes, correct. Yeah. Teresa, do you have the Constitution by any chance? The latest version?
I can pull it up.
Let me forward it to you as well.
That's
So
the person.
That was in an email list, right?
Yes, you can count on that.
If you have work to do, you can.
Yeah.
I'm interested in hearing what you're doing. Well, but I want to hear like Elizabeth May to talk, like, and like that's after all this boring stuff.
So if you have to go find your bikini or anything for the trip.
Perfect, that's the one, yeah. And
Hey,
for some
Lynn,
reason,
we can
the
still hear
projector
you.
disconnected. Did you do that?
Oh,
Yeah, I can that.
Okay.
You can still hear me. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know how long it is. I don't know.
Okay, so we'll get started again. With the votes, we're just going to wait for Roz to count the ballots. In the meantime, we'll continue on to the next section. Yeah, okay. Can you make it bigger?
Oh,
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, yeah. Right here on my screen, I would have to.
Let me share. I'm going to share the proposed constitution changes on the screen here.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, everyone, we'll get started with the next section. We have a few proposed constitution changes, and there's actually a clause in the Constitution right now that says that to actually make changes to the Constitution, we need to send regular mail to all the members. And so one of the proposed changes is we don't want to be emailing 300 or 200 copies of the Constitution to all members to be able to make changes. We want to be able to do that in the meeting. We still want to give notice so people can have the time to look it over. So we're proposing to make the change that the actual updates are sent with the email inviting people to the AGM. So this is one that we want to put forward first, because if it doesn't pass, then the others can't really be considered right now. So as a first motion, I'm going to put this up on the screen. So the motion is that the EDA Constitution, item B3, which refers to notice for proposed Constitution changes having to be sent by regular mail, be amended to have those proposed Constitution changes be provided in the communication of the notice of an AGM, like I just described. This is the formal language for the change. And I just want to see maybe a show of hands. If you agree with this change, could you please put up your hands? And in the chat, please just type yes. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, This one has been approved. I guess we need a seconder. Simon, thank you. Yes, Kathy. So we'll no longer send proposed constitution changes by mail because we don't want to waste the paper, and instead we'll send it by email when we send the notice for the AGM itself. Yes, yeah, great question. Yeah, we should definitely make that option available for people if they want to read it in person, that they can request that via the EDA. Thanks. Good point. So I'm going to scroll through briefly, and this has been sent out in the notice 7 days ago. We shared the document with the actual proposed changes a month ago. And anything highlighted in light green is just something where the intent was already there. We're not actually changing intent. It's just making sure that the language is consistent. One of the things is that, according to Elections Canada, our riding is actually called the Kitchener Centre Federal Green Party Association. So there's a few changes that are kind of conceptual, and I'll just highlight the ones that are actually impactful here. And Ruben, I'll ask you to scroll through as well on the live stream. So one of the things, the Central Party doesn't allow proxy voting, and we find that it's kind of extra efforts that isn't helpful. So we're proposing to change the Constitution to say that proxy voting in the AGM and the nomination contest is also not allowed here. And we'll have just one vote at the end if you approve. Any discussion on this one? Okay. We didn't have quorum for executive meetings, just to be in line with the standard templates for the GPC. We're saying that quorum for executive meetings is 50% or a simple majority.
It doesn't say simple majority.
Oh, sorry. I guess it's not the vote. The vote is 66% to approve motions, and quorum is a majority of 50%. Thanks. And we'll scroll down to B2. There's a clause here: in the event of a by-election or general election, we can extend the AGM. This is also in the template, and I think a very reasonable thing. We don't want to distract from an election when we need to hold our AGM. And that a notice of an AGM will be given 30 days prior to the AGM. I think this is helpful for all members to be aware. Any discussion on these points so far? Thank you. And a quorum at an AGM, according to the template for EDAs, it's the lesser of 10% or 20 voting members. And getting quorum is often a challenge. We find 20 members would be a reasonable amount of members to make these kinds of decisions. And as our membership grows, this is kind of something that we wanted to bring in line with the EDA templates from the GPC. So the lesser of 10% or 20 members. Any questions or discussion about this point? See, we have one question in the chat. We got yeses in the chat. Thank you. So another useful clause in the template for EDAs is that in the event that a general meeting can't be conducted because it can't meet quorum, there's a provision to postpone it no more than 2 weeks, so that we can attempt to have quorum again at a second meeting, but that time it'll be the lesser of 5% or 5 voting members. So ideally we want the AGM to happen the first time, but if we need to, then we can at least postpone it and still have an AGM. Yeah, Simon.
Is that following Roberts or the Green Party rules for meetings?
That's a great question. Are you aware? Can you speak to that?
I don't know the answer to that because if you don't have quorum, you can't pass a motion.
Right.
Because the meeting hasn't started.
Yes. So the question was this clause to have the meeting postponed. I guess you need to have quorum to be able to have that motion to postpone the meeting. And the question is, how do we address that effectively? And you're not quite sure, eh?
Well,
what's that? Okay. So the clause here specifically says in the Constitution that that's the one motion that we'd be able to pass, that we postpone the meeting. It's an unlikely situation. We strive every time to have the AGM when we can. So we can give that some thought, how that. And proposed changes, this is the clause that I mentioned at the beginning. Proposed changes to the Constitution shall be provided to all members in the notice of a general meeting at which the amendments shall be considered. And then finally, one more point is that we've removed our procedures for nomination contests. The GPC has a much more extensive procedure and everything was in line anyway, but we don't want to duplicate that. And so our proposal is just to refer to the central party's procedures. Any questions about that? And so these documents will be available still to you, and we welcome any discussion, but just in the interest of simplifying things, we want to have one motion that encapsulates all these changes, and then we can have kind of a fresh start that we can discuss in AGMs going forward. So I'll stop sharing here. So the proposed motion that we have is that the EDA Constitution be amended with the changes as presented, including, most notably, removing proxy voting, having quorum be the lesser of 10 or 20 members, postponing the AGM in case of an election, or if we don't meet quorum, giving notice 30 days before the AGM, and that nomination procedures now refer to the GPC procedures. Can I get a show of hands if you're in favor? Oh, I'd like to move that we make these changes. Can I get a seconder? Simon, thank you. And can I get a show of hands for all in favor? Thank you. In the chat, can we get a yes? Thank you. Any opposed or abstains? Would you like to discuss? Do you have concerns that you'd like to bring up? Because we'd like to build consensus. Okay, yeah. So one of the members just shared he doesn't agree in principle with removing proxy voting from the AGM. Do you feel like we can go ahead with the general slate of changes and continue that discussion for future changes to the Constitution? Thanks. All right, so this motion is passed. And so we have one more agenda before this slide that's up, actually. We just want to look at the year ahead. And one of the most important ways that we can actively be involved right now is helping get Aislinn elected. So we'll keep the rest short and move over to the main room soon so we can get that energy going. We also are putting forward a few committees to be able to do more work in 2024 as we work towards the next federal election, which we expect is 2025, but in a minority government, it can be any time. And so the year-end fundraising that we're going to be doing is really important to set us up for whenever an election will be called. And yeah, we encourage each of you to get involved in the coming year. And so the final motion that we have on the table here, we're actually going to have in the room, we'll ask people to give their show of hands or fill in the ballots, show of hands in the chat, or fill in the ballots and give it to Teresa as the RO for the nomination contest. And we want to celebrate the vote in the big room with everybody. So we're going to migrate over. Elizabeth. So Elizabeth's question was, do we have any bio information on none of the above? Do they even live in the riding? Very fair question. And we discussed this. We really wanted to have a vote so that we can follow the green principle of participatory democracy. And so it seems like everyone's really excited about Mike, and still we want to have that vote to follow process. So now we'll ask everyone to move over. Just for the live audience, We're going to need just 2 or 3 minutes to set up the camera on the other side. And we're looking forward to building the energy with you guys there. Thanks, everyone. So in the meantime, I'll let you guys enjoy the view here in the live audience. We have a lively crowd. And we'll soon project the sets where we have the main speakers presenting.
Not sure if we have enough distance on that element. Does it have an audio?
It's just an aux, yeah.
That doesn't work.
This is stage?
Yes.
Okay.
We can move this over, and I think we got quite a bit of distance.
Okay. Just move the whole computer.
Yeah, and put it on the chair maybe. A lot of things in the state of it.
Okay. Got enough battery on this computer?
I didn't get to meet after. Yeah, it's fine. The one at the bottom was just yeah.
Let's put a couple pieces down here as well. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started shortly. So if you can find a spot and get comfortable, get your last drink, and we'll get started in 2 minutes. Maybe you specify, explain on behalf of the founder. Or you can explain the process.
Okay.
And then I'll make the introduction.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. So a lot of you were over here having some fun while some official business was going on in the next room. And then we decided to move over here to interrupt all your fun and your conversations. Can I talk louder? Okay, I can talk into it more. Is that okay? There we go. Welcome, everyone. So yeah, this is the AGM and the nomination meeting. As you know, we're in a minority parliaments. We can have an election at any time. And if we don't, it'll be in 2025. So it's important to have our candidates picked early so they can go out and do, work towards election and stuff like that. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight. Okay. So the process is to be the nominee, it was open up to all members in Kitchener Centre. And then they closed 2 weeks ago. We had one person come forward who wanted to be our candidate. I don't know. And so members in the other room, we had quorum, voted for this person or voted none of the above. Should I announce? Or you do your announcement?
I can just share one other thing. It might seem obvious who the candidate should be, but it's still important to have this process. One of the core Green principles is participatory democracy. And so we really wanted to still follow this process so that also in the future, this will always be an option. Of course, the candidate doesn't need much of an introduction. He's in the news regularly for all the right reasons. You'll have seen him at almost every community event and at your doorstep. He's been doing everything in his power to represent the people of Kitchener Centre. And even before being elected to the House of Commons, please help me welcome your MP and officially now your candidate for the next federal election, MP Mike Morrice.
Wow, it's certainly good to be back here with you all. You know, it's been 2 years since I last gave a speech at McMullen's, and that last one was pretty fun. So it is really heartening for me to see you all with us this evening. Thank you so much for being with us. We have so many folks from across our community, folks who've been members of the party for a long time, community leaders who've joined us, and a number of friends from right across the country that you'll be hearing from very shortly, including the leader of the Green Party of Ontario, my good friend, Mike Schreiner. The deputy leader of the Green Party of Canada, Jonathan Pedneault. C'est un absolu plaisir d'avoir vous avec nous ce soir. Merci, JP, encore pour être ici avec nous. Et aussi, and also the leader of the Green Party of Canada, Elizabeth May. Now, they told me I had 5 minutes. I'm going to make the most of it. I want to start by sharing, you know, we have a lot to be proud of for what we've been able to get done over the last 2 years since we were last here together. And I wanted to share just a glimpse of some of it, because we've done some big things. We've been able to push for this government to put in place a law to pass the Canada Disability Benefit. And you all know better than most across this country the extent to which people with disabilities are disproportionately living in poverty. 40% of people in poverty in this country are people with disabilities. It's a national embarrassment, and we will continue to put pressure on the government to move ahead, not only with the law that we've now had passed, but also, well, heck yeah. But also in terms of the improvements we got to that bill. I'm very proud that it was our team and our community. When we look at the 9 amendments that got passed to that bill, over half, we had more amendments passed to that bill than every other MP in the country combined. And it's because of that. Some of you know how badly ODSP is leaving people in legislated poverty across the country. One of the reasons is because they don't index it to inflation. And so we listened to the disability community. We got amendments passed on their behalf, including ensuring that whenever the Canada Disability Benefit finally gets out, we're going to continue to push for that to happen, that it's going to be indexed to inflation every single year. When it comes to climate, we all know that this is the closing window for us to act in the midst of this crisis. And at the same time, we also know that oil and gas companies across the country are gouging Canadians at the pump. It is a shame. And we have politicians in Ottawa who are deceiving people by making them think the carbon tax is what's making their lives more expensive, when in fact, it's the profits of oil and gas companies that have gone up 18 cents a liter last year alone. There are no rebates like there is with the carbon tax when it comes to the extent to which they gouge us. And they know exactly what they're doing in the midst of the crisis that we're in. That's why I'm really proud that as Greens, we've started a national conversation to say enough is enough. We should be funding retrofits for Canadians across the country. You can clap for that. Where could we possibly find the money to fund retrofits for Canadians across the country? How about the $38 billion the oil and gas companies are gouging us at the pumps every single year? And good news, the federal government's done this already. It's called the Canada Recovery Dividend. It's already applied to banks and life insurance companies. All we're saying is, as Greens, is now do big oil. Let's go. And the third I'll give you in terms of some of the things I'm really proud that we've been able to accomplish is I know so many of you are as concerned as I am with the fact that the Prime Minister promised 1,800 times in 2015 that would be the last election under winner take all, first past the post. Shame. I'm pretty sure we're still using this so-called winner take all, first past the post. And working with Fair Vote Canada and their volunteers across the country at a time when MPs are actually represented by members in their own parties who a plurality of which their own parties have voted in support of a citizens' assembly on electoral reform. And as Greens, we've been able to bring that back forward to the conversation again. And you know what? We don't have to pretend like we're the only ones doing this work. We can work with other people to get things done. Some of you know there's this lottery draw for when MPs get a chance to move their motions and bills ahead. Bad news, I drew a bad number. Elizabeth May drew a great number and got a bill on environmental racism through in the House of Commons. That I'm super proud of. I didn't have as good luck. So what we did is we found a friend who had better luck. We're working with her. And as a result, we are going to have the first ever debate and vote in our parliament on a citizens' assembly on electoral reform. We know that politics has gotten in the way of this conversation time and time again. We're going to take the politics out of it, and we're going to make it easy for regular Canadians to weigh in to get this done. And so these are the kinds of things we'll be able to get to do at the national level. We've also done some things in our community that I'm really proud of, and I'll share with you just two of them. The first is learning early on that MPs can walk into any federal prison across the country. We have the right to do that, and it's a really critical right to be able to exercise, to stand up for the rights of incarcerated people, which, by the way, are disproportionately Black, Indigenous, and racialized. That is a shame. And there's a federal prison right in our community. It's called the Grand Valley Institution for Women. And a community organization called Community Justice Initiatives has been doing incredible work over many years to be ensuring that the folks at that prison have the access to support to rehabilitate and come back into society in a good way. And so we started to work with Community Justice Initiatives and listen to some of the incarcerated people shortly after getting elected. And one of the things we heard is that Community Justice Initiatives already had this wonderful program in place. It's called Stride, where they would meet on Wednesday nights with incarcerated folks at GVI. And for reasons nobody was ever given, that program never came back after the pandemic. And I'm actually really proud that Julia from Community Justice Initiatives chose to join us tonight. Julia, it's been such a joy working with you in this work. To me, it's the perfect sweet spot, because someone like me, I've never worked in this before. I don't have the lived experience or the expertise that Julia and her team has, but I've got certain parliamentary tools that we can be using alongside their advocacy. And one of those tools is just writing a letter to the wardens to say, why is this program not operating? Within a month of putting a letter in, lo and behold, the program's back. And so Stride's operating again. I'm looking at my time and I know I should go quicker, so I'll end with those. We've been doing a lot of really good work, as I know many of you know. But it's not just the work, it's how we've done the work. Resisting everything I hate about politics as we do this work, making sure that, you know what, we can be honest and not pretend like we're the only ones doing the work, that we can share the credit and not plant our flag in the issues, pretending the political party needs to be more important than the actual work we're doing. See, Matt, it's going a bit slower because of all the applauses. You can't count that on my time. We can do it by being respectful. You can disagree without being disagreeable. You can be assertive without calling somebody a name before doing so. You can be honest. In fact, I think that's one of the most important things in our democracy right now. And we know we need to demonstrate that we're going to work hard every single day. Now, the other really important way we've been able to get this work done is with a really incredible team. And so I wonder if those who are part of our parliamentary team who are with us tonight, I know Roz is with us tonight, I know Asha is with us tonight. Can you stand up so folks can appreciate all that you do as part of our parliamentary team? Who else is here? Yeah, Joel is here with us too, Joel, an intern. And Amaria is here with us also, wherever Amaria is. Can Amaria stand up? Thank you so much. Amaria advocates for people every single day. Thanks for what you do every single day, Amaria. Now, as you might also know, one of these members of our team also managed both campaigns in 2019 and 2021. And she's a pretty incredible person. Heck yeah, let's get the Asha chant going. I'm all in for that. And Asha has recently been in the process of moving on from our team, and we're really excited for all the work she's continuing to do, including working as a part of this campaign to get Aislinn Clancy elected as our MPP. And so we have just a small token, Asha. We'll never be able to properly say thank you. a number of folks said, what happened in Kitchener Center? Well, what happened is that we built a campaign that was possible to win. And that was you and the rest of the team that made sure that anytime any volunteers showed up, there was food ready for them. There was a canvas shift up on the wall to say, when are you coming out to join us? And there was a smiling face. And that was you and the rest of the team that made that all happen. And so this is just a small token of our appreciation. Okay. Yeah, this is my last bit. So the last bit, I just wanted to share. A lot of folks will say to me, you know, Mike, it's got to be a lot harder doing this work as a Green. How are you getting this done as a Green? And what I want you all to know, and what I tell those folks all the time, is that, you know what, it's not true. It may have been harder to get elected as a Green, but the job is actually easier as a Green. Because I never have to waste my time filibustering at committee for some political party that sends me to do their bidding. And I never have to rationalize to people back home why I voted a certain way, despite the fact that I might not actually believe in it. I can stay true to myself and my values and to our community because I'm a Green. But let's not forget how much work it takes to get elected as a Green. And we have someone really special in our community who's in the midst of following everything we did in 2021 and going further still. We had, I don't know, 800 lawn signs in 2021. She's got like over almost 2,000, I'm told now, right across 2,100. I can't keep up. 2,100 lawn signs across Kitchener Center. Volunteers that I walk into that campaign office. Can't find a parking spot. There's just people everywhere. I go to make calls. There's Mike Schreiner making calls. Hey, again, Mike, okay, let's make some more phone calls. This is everything that I'm so proud that a democracy can be about. It doesn't have to be about all the partisan BS. It can actually be about the people power that you all know better than most because you've been a part of it with us. And when it's for Aislinn, when it's for someone that's as caring and compassionate and committed and ready to fight for our community, this is why I'm so confident that we're in the midst of electing the second Green MPP right here in Kitchener Center. So thank you all again for everything you did to get us to this point and everything you continue to do to make sure that on November 30th, Aislinn Clancy is going to be our MPP. Thank you again.
Thanks, Mike. And I was rightly pointed out, I'm green at this. I'm a rookie. When you want a politician to speak for 5 minutes, ask for 2. But everyone really appreciates all the work that you're putting in, Mike. And we really like hearing the updates at these events. So thank you. And we'll keep the next remarks shorter, hopefully. So next up, we have Elizabeth May. Everyone has seen her in the news, and she's been to many Kitchener Center events. And over the past year, I've had the chance to meet her a few times in person and really understand how hard she is working as a small caucus, having to address so many issues. So please give a warm round of welcome to Elizabeth May.
Hi. It's so great to be here, and I owe all of you in this room so much. You can't believe, I can't really express how much it means to me to work every single day with Mike Morrice. Thank you. You know, yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to go off into a bad version of Bridget Jones's all by myself. Don't want to be. No, thank God. Thanks for you guys. I'm not all by myself. We're an awesome team in Parliament. And our little corner of Parliament, as Mike just said, we've got the respect of everybody in that room. When Mike stands up to speak, and he does virtually every single day, because he's not in a caucus with one of the other parties where the leader has to decide, oh, I don't know if I want to let you speak. Anyway, it's always such an honor to know and watch. Mike just mentioned some of the high points, but the progress and the innovative motions and figuring out how to use our rules of procedures to push something forward. He mentioned the private members bill, which is now through the House. It's gone to the Senate, the bill to develop a strategy for environmental justice. It's not just, it's about confronting environmental racism, saying it out loud to say, guess what? If you do a map of Canada, you want to look at where the toxic waste sites are. You might just notice they tend to overlap with communities of people of color and Indigenous communities. Do you think that's an accident? So working on that bill, I think, fingers crossed, we're going to get it passed and royal assent before the next election in 2025. I don't know how many of you know that'll be the third Green Party piece of legislation passed in the Parliament of Canada. But Mike's work on the disability benefit, it was so obviously, this is a government piece of legislation, and I'm reading in the newspapers where reporters think it's Mike Morrice's private members bill because Mike seems to be the person pushing it through. And I was so grateful to all of you for making sure that Mike is the honorable member for Kitchener Centre, because you elected an honorable man. So it's very cool to see Mike Schreiner, whom I love so much, standing with Mike Morrice, whom I love so much. And I hope it doesn't sound like disloyalty to Green Mikes, but ain't it time to elect a Green from Ontario? Isn't his name Mike? So I think that name Aislinn is going to be heard right across Canada. I certainly had heard about the Aislinn Clancy campaign it did get here. I think it was in March. And was it in March? Oh, yeah. I got to meet some of the volunteers and meet Aislinn and hang out just for a dinner of pizza somewhere. But I kept watching the campaign build and build and build. I kept looking at the number of lawn signs committed, the number of doors that had been knocked down. I mean, this is just awesome. But it couldn't be more important in this moment, because we're in this moment on the climate crisis where, as Mike Morrice, as Mike, my buddy, was just saying, the window is closing on any chance to hold to less than 2 degrees, to hold to 1.5 degrees. It may have already slipped through our fingers to hold to 1.5, but we can hold to 1.6. I mean, it's not like you have to automatically go from 1.5 to, oblivion. Hang on. Every fraction of a degree that we avoid is millions of lives saved. Every fraction of a degree we need to save. So in this moment, when Canada just experienced a forest fire season that made global headlines, where NASA was saying this is just off the charts, all the global science community that were looking at the maps and looking at the evidence and looking at the length of our forest fire season starting in early May and running into late November, and they're saying, okay, if in this moment the voters of Kitchener Centre elect Aislinn Clancy to Queen's Park and double the Green Party caucus in Queen's Park, I think it'll be like that moment when Paul Manley won in a by-election in 2019, and the cameras turned to Justin Trudeau, and the media said to him, well, what do you suppose that means? So I guess it means the voters in Nanaimo Ladysmith care about climate. It communicates in a very solid way something that, how many Friday strikes for the future, how many large marches, how many times do we have to tell these guys that the time is running out and climate is the crucial issue for our survival? And you can do it here in Kitchener Centre. You're this close. You're so close to striking a blow that will make a real difference on the eve. Like, what day does COP28 start? November 30th. What day do you send Aislinn Clancy to Queen's Park? November 30th. So do any atheists in the room, forgive me, but God bless you. You're doing God's work, Godspeed, get this done. Send Aislinn Clancy to Queen's Park. It's the most important thing you can do for all of us and for our grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'd like to invite up Jonathan Pedneault. I've had the chance to meet Jonathan a few times. He's new in his role as leader, but a really warm, thank you, deputy leader. He's very humble, he's very genuine, and all the conversations we had at doors together in Alberta, of all places, Jonathan is a real genuine guy, and I hope you each get to know him through this. Jonathan.
Thank you, Maz. Hey, Kitchener! It's so good to be back. It's so good to be back. Kitchener, to me, epitomizes what Canada can do when it pulls together by sending an amazing guy like Mike Morrice to Parliament. I can't begin to tell you just how much it is impressive to see Mike in action in Parliament. This is a guy who really has your back day in and day out. Whenever he shows up in Parliament, I know, because I'm sometimes we disagree on some issues, but he's always got your back, always on every single issues. And if there is one critical job for a member of Parliament, it is to represent the community. It is to listen to what your community wants and bring that over to Parliament to achieve something. Now, achieving something, Mike made it sound like something that's almost easy, but it's difficult. It's difficult unless, like Mike, you're a good guy who shows up to work, is willing to speak with everyone, talk with everyone, find common ground, and is also detail-oriented, and also is willing to go through the motions of getting amendments passed in critical legislations the way he's done. This, my friends, is exactly what we're trying to achieve, again, by sending Aislinn to Queen's Park. And if there is one community right now where my hopes and the hopes of so many Canadians throughout the country lies, it is Kitchener Centre. It is Kitchener Centre because what does it mean to be green in these dark times, right? The times are a bit difficult. Inflation, we're seeing communities being ripped apart by tensions, by politicians who've farm rage, to use Elizabeth's expression. What does it mean to be a green in these troubled times? What does it mean? It means to really care for one another. And this, my friends, you're showing today by being here, by knocking on doors with Aislinn, by being present in your community to bring about concrete changes for your neighbors. In so doing, you're doing an act of love at a time when politics all too often has become polluted by hatred and dissent and division. So thank you to all of you, because the service you're doing is not just to the Green Party of Ontario or Canada or to Kitchener Centre. You're doing a service for the entire country. And so I want to raise my hat, which I don't have, but I want to raise my hat to all of you and thank you again very much for the hard work you do. This does not happen without you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. That was great. And thanks for all the bridges that you're building within the party. Next up, we have Mike Schreiner. He's the leader of the GPO and someone who could definitely use a hand at Queen's Park. Please give a warm round of applause to Mike Schreiner.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, it warms my heart. It warms my heart to see you all here on the cusp of making history, of making Kitchener Centre the first riding in Ontario to have a Green MP and a Green MPP. I want to say to my friends from Guelph who are here, we got to up our game after Kitchener Centre here. Yeah. You know, when the votes are tough at Queen's Park, I need somebody to stand there with me. I was the only MPP in the entire legislature to vote against Doug Ford's motion in support of the Line 5 pipeline. Yep, the only one. The only MPP at Queen's Park to vote against Doug Ford's bill for his license sticker gimmick, which cost us $2.5 billion in the first year and $1.5 billion each and every year that could go to healthcare, could go to education, could go to housing affordability, could go to raising ODSP rates. Just last week, I was one of 4 MPPs to vote against Doug Ford's motion to attack climate action by attacking the carbon price. Yeah, boo. Yeah, we are in a climate crisis, but I would say we're in a deeper crisis. It's a crisis of caring. And there is one person I've met in politics who cares so deeply. You can feel it. And this isn't to say I feel it with you, Mike, Jonathan, Elizabeth. I feel it from so many of you in this room and so many candidates in this room. But when I watch Aislinn Clancy at the door, you can tell you're with somebody who cares so deeply about her community, the people she's connecting with, and is going to be a strong, independent voice that will always put Kitchener Centre ahead of party politics because she cares about this community. And so I just want to ask each and every one of you over the next, how many days, Marie? 12 days. Over the next 12 days, we could use your treasurer, but what we need more of right now is your time and your talent. Each one of you, if you are in this room, you're an incredibly talented person who obviously cares about making sure we have a livable future on a livable planet, and this is a livable community. And now I need you to just give that little bit of extra time, because this is what a winning campaign feels like. And I know that Aislinn Clancy is going to make an amazing MPP for this riding. And it's up to each and every one of us in this room to make it happen. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here tonight. And now I have the honor of introducing the next MPP for Kitchener Centre, Aislinn Clancy. Aislinn.
Thank you guys so much. I feel like I'm always terror-sided. It's so intense to go through this, but the only reason I can even take this on or imagine it is because of everybody in this room. I am like forever indebted to Mike Morrice and Asha in the campaign. I was, I say this story often, but when Doug Ford was elected with his majority, it was like stomping all the things I care about. And, I think all of us are frightened, alarmed and shocked about the climate realities we're facing. And so when you have leadership that just throws it aside, disregards the scientists, disregards kind of the vision that we all share in this room, it's shocking. And I think that's what political will is all about, that we're rising up and we're pushing up against bad decisions and being brave enough to stand for these values that we all share. So I'm so grateful. It's such a beautiful toolbox in this room. We don't agonize, we organize. Thank you, Maureen. Yay. So while they go into deep pockets elsewhere, we have a wealth of care and compassion and passion and determination. And I feel like every day I see people showing up and doing the hard work and showing up again the next day and then telling their friends and telling their friends' friends. It's unbelievable, this green wave. And honestly, we wouldn't be able to do this without the trailblazing that's already happened. And it's legacy, generations of green inspiration and capacity building and building this political will. We're at an amazing moment in time where people see it, they feel it, they see that it's their health, it's their financial security, it's where are we going to build things and trying to think about water. It's so much more than just, you know, climate change. It's everything that we are all about. So anyway, thank you so much for the kind words. You know, this is so hard to do, but I feel like it's the courage that I get from being in this room and being supported and working together with such brilliant people that I know share that same care and concern for our community and our planet. So it's mutual. We charge each other's batteries. We have 12 days to go. Just 12, 11. Fuck. But we can do it, guys. We keep building more and more talent, and it's going to spread across the country. It's going to spread across the province because people keep seeing what it means to elect a Green. You get someone who works so hard and who is the voice for the community and is supported by this brilliant room of people. And that's what makes doing our jobs easier is looking you in the face all the time and knowing that we're in this together. So anyway, 11 more days. Come on, we got this. And thank you, everybody, for believing in me and supporting me. And it's not me, it's we. And I'm so excited that we get to do this together and hopefully be here in 11 days to raise a glass to one more green. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Aislinn. Thank you, Aislinn. And I want to reiterate Mike's message. We can use all the time and talent that you have to offer to reach as many people in the riding as possible on the provincial side. If you're interested in still making a donation provincially, it's very much appreciated. And we also are looking to raise money federally, because even though we're not in the middle of an election there, every dollar raised helps amplify the work that Mike and his team are doing both in Ottawa and here in the community. They can hire additional staff, they can do more promotion and get more engaged in the community. So I want to invite Mike, Elizabeth, Aislinn, JP up on stage again. We're going to host a Dutch auction, and many of you will be familiar with this. And I'll let the professionals take the mic.
While I've got the mic, I'm going to thank one more person in this room, without whom the Green Party of Ontario wouldn't be where it is right now. Thank you, Jamie Bika.
So back to you, Elizabeth.
Okay. How many of you have never been to a Dutch auction before? Okay, Maddie's hands up, people's hands up. Okay, here's how it works. We're going to take all your money, and the good news is you don't have to take any junk home. It's an auction without stuff. It's the ultimate degrowth auction. So what it does is it's okay. So it's called a Dutch auction because this is apparently, I've never been to one, how they auction off tulips in Amsterdam. You start with the most valuable bulb and you work your way down to the dregs. So we start with, and someone needs to hand me the sheet of all the donation levels. The legal top donation level to a federal political party in this year is $1,700, but it cost you after taxes, what, $900? $750. See, the things I'm supposed to 1050. See, this is the thing what's happening when I try to do it without the piece of paper in my hands. Okay, all right, okay, let me explain it. So we start with the largest amount of donation that you're able to make legally. And you actually, you can actually make that donation to the federal party, Green Party of Canada, $1,700. You can also donate $1,700 to Kitchener Centre Federal Green Party Association. So actually you can, if you really, really, really want to donate $3,400, it is legal to do so. So we'll start at 34. And then we're going to start 34. The thing about the Dutch auction is we go really, really fast because we don't want begging for money to last a really long time. We want it over with. Yeah. And we're going to show you on the screen. Where was the screen? No screen. We're not going to show you.
We'll tell you.
You're going to have to imagine a screen with the thermometer rising for how much money has been donated. Do we have runners in the room? Let me check that part. Everybody who's a runner, put your hand up.
Dude.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We need a few more runners. Jonathan, celebrity runner. Okay. Because what we're going to do is what you put your hand up. This is a pledge auction. So number one, we're just going to get from you tonight, if we can, credit card information is great. So it's all done, or you can write a check. The goal here is to raise money fast because I have a lot of fun while doing this, but I really don't like it to last forever because we're going to start at start at 3,400. If no hands go up, no shame, no pain. We just move to the next number. We move fast. And that's why the runners have to move fast. The other piece of good news is, by the way, you can pledge for someone who isn't here. So, but that means it means you have to think they have the money and they're green. So I used to say in the old days, given generational change, I used to say, you can maybe, pledge for your mom and she's not here. Now things have changed. And I say, you can pledge for your son with a really good job and he's not here. And you just make that pledge. So, okay, we're going to go fast because if you do pledge for someone who isn't in the room, you're taking on the responsibility to go call that person and say, hey, Mom, guess what? You're donating $1,700 to the Green Party of Canada. What are your credit card deets? Okay.
You promised Elizabeth May.
And you promised me. Okay, so we're going to move fast. We're going to start. Everybody clear on the rules? Did I forget anything?
It's separate from provincial.
This is for the Green Party of Canada. This is federal money for Mike Morrice to get reelected as your MP. Be very clear. This is not the money for Green Party of Ontario for Aislinn. You also have to max out on those donations too. But these ones are different. Okay, are we ready? Okay. Anybody want to donate $3,400? Hands up. Watch when you adjust your glasses. I'm just saying. Okay. So we're going to drop to $1,700, the maximum single donation to the federal Green Party campaign for Kitchener. There's a hand up there, $1,700. We have one pledge of $1,700. Anyone else at $1,700?
I'm allowed to do two, right?
Yeah. So we got a second one right here, $1,700 from Mike Morrice. Anyone else at $1,700? Anyone else at $1,700? Okay, we're going to drop one more. One more.
Dale Brubacher-Cressman in the live stream. Dale Brubacher-Cressman in the live stream is also donating $1,700.
Thank you, Dale. Yay, that's 3 at $1,700. Are we ready to keep going? If we had a thermometer, you would see that number rising. Okay, next one down, we're going to go to, I want to go to $1,500, but it's not the sheet. Anyone want to donate $1,500? Just checking.
Follow the sheet.
Okay, follow the sheet. Okay, well, then we're going to go all the way down to $1,000, Mike. $1,000. Oh, Mike Schreiner for $1,000. Ryan for $1,000. Yeah, Ryan, that's two. Anyone else at $1,000? Mike at $1,000. Thank you very much. That's 1,000. Anyone else at $1,000 for Kitchener Center, Federal EDA? $1,000 going once, going twice. Matt.
We got Jerry King at $1,000.
Thank you, Jerry. Now, anyone doing a total so we can keep up on where we are? Where are we now?
We're at like 9,400.
We're at $9,400 already. See, that didn't hurt. Okay, so we're at $1,000 going once, going twice. Anyone else at $1,000? Okay, dropping down to, this is a problem with these things. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, JP. $600 after taxes is going to cost you.
How much do you get back? How much do you get back?
Your actual cost is $200 if you're.
$442.
What?
Sorry, $200.
Yeah, so $600 after tax cost is $200. How many is $600?
I'll do 800.
Oh, Matt's at $800. Thank you, Matt's. Anyone else at $800 keeping up with Matt's? Hard to keep up with Matt's on Cleve. Hard to keep up. Anybody else at $800? Okay, back to $600. Anyone at $600 after taxes only cost you $200. JP, merci mille fois. 600, and there's a hand up down here for 600. I see 2 more hands for 600. A runner's getting to you. Asha, are you doing 600? Asha for 600. I think that's 4 hands at $600. And everybody who put your hand up, if you haven't seen a runner, put your hand back up so they find you. $600. Thank you so much. So what's our total now?
Nope, that's not the total.
12,600. We're now at $12,600. Let's keep going.
Okay, here's the bigger numbers for you. This is the big one.
Oh yes, of course.
Elizabeth, can I ask?
I can't read what you've written.
I know it's dark. Yeah.
I also want to point out in the meantime that there's many members that have been contributing monthly, and that also adds up over the long term. So if you're a monthly donor, or if you've donated before this event already, could you put up your hand? Amazing. Thank you so much for your monthly contributions. It really helps secure funding continuously. So thank you. So the next number down isn't on the sheet, but I'm making it 500 because I decided when I was coming here tonight, I could afford to do 500. So put me down for $500 for this campaign. And another hand at $500 right there. That's 2 at 500. Anyone else at 500? Hands up for 500. Anyone else at 500? Thank you, Maureen. 500. So that's 3 at 500 that I counted. Anybody else?
Shiva was at 500.
Shiva was at 500. Oh, thank you, Shiva. Hi. Thank you. Okay, so we're dropping down. The sweet spot is $400 where you get a 75% tax credit. It costs you $100 to give $400. You can tell the big parties organized this because when. So everybody with a $400 donation, put your hand up right now and I'll count the $400. Is there 1? Linda? Where? 2? Thank you. And 3, thank you. 3 at 400. Thank you, Dave. Anybody else at 400? 400 going once, going twice. Remember, you can donate for other people who aren't in the room. Just checking. Okay. So this is great. Our total should have gone up above 13,000 at this point. Another 400. Yay. Thank you. Anybody else at 400? Get Mike Morrice back in Parliament. Get Mike Schreiner out of his hair. Mike Morrice back in Parliament. Yeah. Anybody else at $400? Okay, we're dropping down. Next level is the $200 donation, which after taxes is going to cost you $50. Anybody else at $200? 1 hand, 2 hands. Anyone else at 200?
Eric, Peter, and Roz.
Eric, Peter, and Roz, 200 each, and 2 other hands. Thank you. 2 hands here by the bar. Thank you very much. That makes 5 people donating 200. So I think that's great. And everybody who put your hand up, put your hand back up till the runner can find you. So where are we now? On total?
50 more from somebody in Whitehorse.
Somebody in Whitehorse just donated $350. Thank you so much.
17,600.
We're at $17,600 from this room right now, plus the random donor from Whitehorse. Thank you so much. Anybody else out there in the world who wants to donate? Right now is your moment. Okay, anyone else at 200? What?
This is our last one.
Okay, so the last one's going, we're going down to who wants to donate $50, which will cost, oh, wait a second, I'd like the 200, I skipped 100.
You skipped 100, you skipped 100.
I skipped 100, forgive me. Let's go to $100 after taxes cost you 25. So who wants to donate $100?
Maddie at 50.
Yeah.
Sammy in the back.
Sammy, I see your hand, yes.
Lucia from Hamilton in the back. Lucia, thank you so much.
$100, let's watch hands up for $100, another $100 there, thank you. Kathy, thank you, Kathy, $100. Who else? Anybody else? Anybody else going once? $100 going once. Okay, back to 50 because I've forgotten my fifth one. Anyone else at 50? Did I hear any 50s? What? 50?
Everybody gave at the higher amount.
Everybody gave. Okay, that's good. Okay, before I leave, does anybody really wish you donated $1,700? It's not too late. Just checking. Okay, I'm going to pass it back over to the man of the hour, the MP, the best MP in Parliament, Mike Morrice.
I'll just say 2 quick words. This wasn't on the script either. I'm going to pass it back to Matt real soon. I promise, Matt. First, I just want to say thank you. We just, in the last 10 minutes, raised $18,000 to keep doing this work.